Hello, everyone.
Hello.
Hey,
hello, sir.
Good to have you guys. So Deep Ade, Olayinka, Francis. Awesome. Good to have you. So we're finally here. The ITern doing introduction to IT. All right. So my name is Akin Aregbesola, and I'm sure most of you already are aware. We'll basically be doing introduction to IT today, and then take as many general questions as we can, because once we start the technical part, we may not have the opportunity to go back to today's build. So the majority of people in class today are completely new to IT. So if you're already in IT and we're going over things that you apparently already know, you just bear with us this one time. Subsequently, it's going to be fairly technical. However, we want to carry everybody along as much as possible. So we are setting the base. We are making sure everybody is starting on the same foundation, on the same footing, again, as much as possible. All right, so bear with me. All right, guys, welcome to class. And then let's make it as interactive as possible. You ask questions, and then I would provide answers. And the whole goal, like I already mentioned, is to make you comfortable and demystify all of these big terminologies and welcome you into the opportunity of being a tech person. All right. Okay, so where do we start from? So we already have, sorry?
Are you taking questions now?
No, no. So I'm going to do an overview of everything that I've got for you.
All right.
Hopefully that would have answered so many questions.
All right.
And then whatever questions you have thereafter will just be specific. All right, so let's go. So I want to take a look at, like I already posted on the group, why IT, the concept of networking, cloud computing, and so on and so forth, and ultimately talk about my own program, what there is in my program for you, and also about certifications. So I just have that printed out so that I'm not distracted looking for that every now and then. All right, so what is IT? What is IT? Okay, so I'm going to do some drawing so that it's not just theoretical talk. You have to follow in with the schematics that I'll have right here. All right, so I just put up the video briefly so that at least you put a face to the name and recognize that, yeah, it's me, Akin Aregbesola, taking you. And then when it's time to take questions, I'll come back to videos, just so you can focus on the diagrams and learn using the sketches that I'll be putting right here. All right, so bear with me. I'm going to go off video and then come back to take questions. All right, so I'm going to share screen and I'll be sharing sharing that. And then just so we can focus on this, I'm going to go off video. And then There we go. Okay, so why IT? IT means information technology. And then why IT? Why IT? IT means information technology. So we just call technology tech. So the era that we are in now is the era of automation in IT, automation. All right. When I say era, I mean we've had seasons like the industrial era, and of course the latest one, the .com era, the .com era, the era where when we had the new industry like .Facebook, .google, .yahoo, and so on and so forth. In other words, we're generally digitizing the real world into websites. So that was the .com era. But we're overtaking the .com era now, and now we're in the era of automation. What is automation and how does that relate to IT? Automation generally is the concept of running things. It could be manufacturing industry. It could be checking out of Walmart. It could be an application that will run by itself instead of waiting for human to start it and complete it, and so on and so forth. So running things in mechanical terms, you say automatically, but in IT will say automated fashion, so that in production line, for example, I think that's the closest example I can get. You put in the raw material here, and it runs through the entire production line by itself. When it gets to the stage where it should take a product and put it in the pack, it does that robotically. When it gets to the stage where it should pack itself, it wraps the pack around itself, and so on, until it gets to the finish line, when it is now removed from the production line and packaged. So this whole process is automation. Again, that is only from the mechanical or production point of view. In IT as well, you also have programs, software that are written to, for example, take a name, check a database. If that name is already in the database, and then if it is there, you should forward the name to another program that will now forward the name to an accounting program, and will credit that account belonging to that name with so amount, and then send an alert to the person to say your money is there now. That is automated without any human intervention. So the era of the world that we are in now is the era of automation. In other words, we are trying to automate everything from as simple as checking out of a shop, and then you just do your scanning by yourself, you check yourself out, to as complex as having robots replace human in industry generally, whether in manufacturing or across industries. All right, so that is the concept of automation. If you now relate this to IT, these things do not just happen by themselves. This automation do not just happen. They do not just happen. What happens in automation is that the process of automation is programmed. It's programmed. In other words, codes are written, programs are written, and then deployed to make the automation possible. So this is the place of IT. So this programming and everything else that makes this program work to fit this automation is taken care of by the IT department. So this could be a manufacturing company, it could be a store, it could be Uber application, it could be Facebook, it could be Google, whatever it is possible to write programs that will automate the steps as we described there earlier on, so that from start to finish, no human action or activity is involved, because these are already predicted, written out logically in program form, and deployed on this platform to automate the process. So that is where IT comes in. And IT is not just one person writing programs. IT is about the people who write the programs, the people who deploy the programs, the people who set, okay, we'll talk about these other areas that we refer to silently every time we say IT. But first of all, that now gives you an overview of what automation is. So in the next 10 years, 20 years, 30 years, the entire world, according to predictions by notable people like all the big names, from Larry Ellison all to Elon Musk, and so again, Elon Musk is the name I was trying to remember. Many things would, in fact, almost everything would have been automated in the use of AI, with the use of AI and ML. Anyway, now that you see that the reason IT is hot and the reason we are looking for people, I mean, there's always slots in IT, is because the world is automating its processes. And there are many in the medicals, in manufacturing, in construction. There are so many areas that require automation. All right. So as different aspects, different phases of this industry are automating their processes, they require IT people, because behind the automation, there are programs, and these programs are written by IT people. Not just the writing of the program, the deployment of the program, the security of the program, the high availability of the program, the reliability, and so many aspects of the program. All right, so this is why IT is. Now let us zoom into IT and see, okay, this IT, what is it about? IT starts, information technology starts from having a single computer. Let us represent a computer by that. Hope you can see that. So when you have this computer, and then you are using it for word processing, for Excel, and you are not connected to any other computer, you are just using it like a typewriter on your own. All right, this computer is almost entire. As far as information technology, IT is concerned, this computer is useless as stand-alone computer. It's useless. So this is not in vogue anymore. Maybe in the 90s or early 80s to late, in the 80s, basically you will say, oh, I have a computer, I use it to type and to do stuff on my own. Well, it will be a big deal. But these days, this does not happen. It's not information technology. So what you want to happen these days is for this computer to be connected with other computers. This is where IT begins. Connecting this computer with another computer there, another computer there, another device like a mobile phone there, another device like a printer there. So all of the devices are connected. And what is the whole use of this connection? So that they can share resources. You can communicate between this and this. You can transfer from here to here. This may be on floor 7 of the same building. You can send a file to print there. You can send an email. All of this communication is possible only via the concept in IT called networking. So without network, then there is no IT. So information technology begins at the level of one computer. I'm just saying computer. Of course, you know that it could be any other device, these days, even mobile, connecting to another and sharing information, loosely speaking. All right? So that is what we call computer network. This is the foundation on which IT is built, network. So there are people that just specialize in how do networks work and how do you connect computer to computer and make them see and communicate with each other. They are called networking guys. one part of IT. All right. So when you have this network in, for example, a building, and then you have computer 1, computer 2, computer 3, computer 4, and all of them networked together in that format. Let's just put something within one building. Technically, you call that a local area network. But more generally, we call this kind of network corporate network. So what does it mean? It means that it's a network within a building of a bank, for example. That's the manager's office. These are the cashiers, the teller in front. These are, and all of the computers are networked together, maybe to a central. So they are connected to a computer, another computer that has the list of all of the customers. So that this man too does not need to physically go to this other system that has the list of customers to do anything. We just sit here and it's able to access the list of customers and all of their attributes, for example, how much they have, I mean, depending on what level of access. But the point I'm making is this resource is now shared or shareable amongst all of these computers within the same building. That is called a corporate network. All right? It's a small network, corporate. Whereas this list of names and their addresses and all of the details about each name, for example, each name is called a record and all of the details are called attributes. That is technically called a database of customers. We are giving this as a bank example, for example, bank corporate network. All right. Now, this is a small network. What if the bank has another branch in Dallas, one branch in Frisco, another branch in New York, another branch in San Francisco, and they are scattered, the branches are scattered all across America. We have one corporate network here, we have one corporate network there, we have one corporate network there. And even the customers now use it from their mobile phones. They are also now able to access the applications that we talked, we talked about automation earlier on. The application that automates, or the software at this level, that automates the process of crediting, alerting, withdrawal, and all of that. So from the mobile phones, it is not just the branch offices, branch 1, branch 2, branch 3, branch 500, that are able to connect together. Even customers are now also able to connect to the same bank application in automated format. When you have this kind of big network made up of many corporate networks, usually, and also, even more importantly, linking customers. Right. So that access to that application, in this case, we call this kind of network enterprise network. And that is where we are going. Enterprise network. So small network within buildings are called corporate networks, especially within a corporate environment, not like the type you have in your home. That is peer-to-peer. Okay. So this is corporate, whereas we are talking about multiple corporate networks connected together, and then customers now also having access to the resource, one or many resources on that corporate network. Then we have enterprise network. Example of enterprise networks are the big networks that you see around. Telecoms networks, they are enterprise network. Your connection, the connection of your mobile phone to your provider, they are enterprise network. The connection of Uber as an application to Uber as a company and their servers. All right. So this computer now, that all of these, in the case of customers, this computer that houses the application that all of these customers, so because it's not a physical line, it's wireless, you don't see it. So we don't really represent it like this, we represent it with this kind of sign. It means wireless connection, all right? So because all of these connections is connected to this computer that has the resource that all of these devices are accessing, we call this computer that is serving all of these devices server. We call it server. So a server will be the computer that houses the resource that other devices within the network are accessing. So if the resource that that computer is hosting is database, we call it database server. If it is internet, so that all other services and devices will connect to it to have internet, we call it internet server. If it is application, maybe Uber application, we call it application server, app server. And so on. It could be print server, it could be just any name server. It basically means that that computer is hosting the resource that other devices and computers will connect to. Say, please show me this, I want to access this. All right? Okay. So far, we should understand why this concept of IT. What's the big deal about IT? The big deal about IT is that the world is automating and they need technical people, IT people, they are called tech, to come and help them automate processes. And then the concept of IT starts with networking. Small networks like small networks, for example, that will cover a building will be called corporate networks, or that big networks that will cover large geographical area, connecting so many networks and thousands and millions of customers together will be called enterprise networks. All right? Within corporate networks like that, where you have 15, 300, 700, 1,000 computers all connected in a corporate environment, you need, in networks, you always need a special operating system. It is not enough to have cables running from here to the switch and connecting all of them. The cable is just the pathway through which they connect. Or even if you are not using cable, you are using wireless, that's just the pathway. In addition to having the cable, you still need a computer that runs an operating system. It is through this operating system that all of these computers are secure. The list, the register of all of the users on this computer, all of the resources of this network are saved inside this server. It's server because it's serving all of the computers here, like we already defined what server. So in the case of corporate networks, the operating system that will do this is generally Windows Server. The Windows Server 2000, Windows Server 2016, Windows Server 2023, whatever, as long as it starts with Windows Server, that is the operating system that will load here, and then you use it to manage the entire network. Use it to secure the entire network. So you set up user accounts, you determine which user has access to what, you determine that this is the MD's computer, therefore nobody should have access. All of that is determined within this Windows Server operating system running inside this Windows Server. All right, so if you go to a physical office these days and you see a room labeled server room kickoff, that is usually where this kind of server reside. And then from there, mostly through cables, they will not be connected to all of the floors within the company. But the reason I'm mentioning this is to bring out something that for small networks, it is enough to go and learn Windows Server administration because you administer the network from here, admin. But for big networks, enterprise networks, because enterprise networks are big, so what can I draw to represent big networks? I'm just going to do something wide. Enterprise networks. So for big, this is corporate, but this is enterprise. All right. This operating system will crash when it is managing 500,000 customers with maybe the server that they are that is running the app push. They are connected. It will crash. This one is not suitable for big networks. So therefore, what is the kind of operating system that is suitable to manage servers that are connecting thousands and hundreds of thousands of computers and devices of customers? That operating system is called, usually, commonly, not just that, but the most common, more than 80% of the time, Linux. Linux. So Linux operating system is the operating system that enterprise organization use to manage servers that takes care of thousands and millions of customers. Whereas for small networks of less than 10,000 devices, in theory 10,000, but in practice, even by the time you have 3,000 units of devices here, in practice, you begin to see that Windows will be misbehaving. Blue screen means it will just run into error without you being able to identify what the actual problem is. It will be slow, it will be sluggish, and so on and so forth. But generally, when it comes to big networks called enterprise, Linux is the operating system. So this is why, from this point on, we'll be talking about Linux, instead of talking about Windows. So Windows Server Operating System would be that which your colleagues in another class, just like you are here now, there are also people in another class learning how to manage and administer small networks. They will be learning Windows Server Operating System. But for you, you'll be learning how to manage and administer big networks. So you'll be learning Linux, because it is from this Linux that you will now start. In fact, everything is dependent on it. Is from here now that you are now able to manage millions and millions. Your app will be here. Yeah, we'll get there. All right, right now, I'll just take a quick break and then ask you questions, or allow you to ask questions only on what we have done so far, just so I know that, okay, somebody is getting the concept. And then when you're not getting it, I correct it. And then we'll move on to cloud computing and the place of Linux in cloud computing. All right, guys. So let me go to the first set of questioning before I allow you to ask me. What's the major difference between a corporate network and an enterprise network? Anybody? Compare corporate to versus enterprise networks. Yeah.
Can I go?
Yeah, anybody, yes.
It sounds to me like the corporate network is a subset of the enterprise. Like you have multiple corporate in the enterprise network.
Okay, that's good. That's good. Any other contribution?
Yeah, I have my hands up, right?
Yeah, just go on, Brian.
Okay, the major difference I would say is just size. The number of computers you're able to manage on one network, and the massive number of the enterprise when you compare it to the corporate. Yeah.
Yeah, that sounds more like, yeah, the first person was correct as well, but I flow more. So in terms of numbers, can you give me a rough number? So corporate network can maybe manage 5 networks, or that's enterprise network, we're talking about 20, 300. Is that what you mean?
Enterprise, we're looking at hundreds of, from maybe thousands, hundreds of thousands. Okay. And corporate is still within 500, 1,000.
Yeah, something like that. Something like that. That's correct. All right. So the people that are completely new to IT, when they say enterprise network, you know what they mean now. They basically mean networks that have so many customers, thousands, sometimes. In fact, this is million. Zoom alone would have over 10 million customers. So how would they manage the server that we are all connected to right now? I mean, about 40 of you there, and this is just one of the several thousands of meetings going on right now. That kind of server can only be managed not by Windows, but by
I have a question.
All right, let's take your question.
Would you say the corporate, in terms of like the networking for the corporate, is a local area network, and the enterprise is a wide area network? Would you?
Yes.
Would you?
Yes.
Oh, it's
yes.
like that. Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. All right. So that's another way to look at the difference. All right, let me take your questions now. The lady who wanted to ask a question first. Only on what we have done, because we have not even gone midway.
Yeah, good evening, everyone. I think the guy answered the question. It was not exactly the question, but just trying to know the difference between the enterprise and the corporate network, and he just answered it.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Yeah.
So you've broken it down really, really simply, and I appreciate that.
Oh, beautiful. I'm glad somebody is following from it. Thank you for that. All right. So,
and another question.
Right.
Do you have to be like a networking, like do you have to have like a 100% experience in terms of how to network computers in order for you to be a Linux administrator?
No, there are two different departments. So so IT is a whole team of different specialization. So somebody will specialize in networking, somebody else will specialize in Linux, another person will specialize in security, somebody else will specialize in application development, somebody else will specialize in taking the application and deploying, so different departments. So a lifetime is not enough for one person to know everything.
Okay.
However, especially for new entrants like you. However, once you've been around for 10 years, 15 years, and you've interacted, you've been on different teams and you've interacted with these other subject matter experts over years, then of course it's expected that you should know a bit about everything.
Okay, awesome, thank you.
All right. Okay, now, who should go and learn Windows Server operating system and who should go learn Linux operating system? So you go out of here and they say, oh, you don't know Windows Server operating system? Oh, you are missing something. What would you say? Or, yeah, on that context. So this time we're talking about this difference of Windows Server versus Windows Server. We need to say server because there's ordinary Windows that is not server that the client will use. So we always need to say Windows Server to say we mean the one that runs on the server. Windows Server operating system versus Linux operating system. All right? Anybody? Anybody? So who should go and learn Windows Server? Yeah, Ade.
I think that the person who should learn Linux is one who wants to handle multiple tasks, such as when you are doing it on a very large scale. And the Windows servers is for someone who works within like a small company.
Okay. All right. Good. Thanks for the contribution. Any other contribution?
Hello, sir. Hello, sir.
Yeah, just go on, sir.
Okay, I think Windows Server is basically for corporate environment, while Linux operating system is basically for enterprise.
Yes, that sounds more like it, because right now we already know the meaning of corporate and the meaning of enterprise. You are now using those technical terms to explain something else. So you're already coming to IT. If you are completely new, that is the way to answer. The first answer was correct, but it was correct for normal English. We're just talking, it's okay. I mean, it's your first time. It's your first time. So I'm just trying to tell you the better way to do it if you have the choice. Yeah. All right. So if you now break that down further, that is where the concept of, oh, this is just a small network for a corporate organization within an office, and this is for large network where I really want to hear customers here. A lot of customers are involved. Okay, I'll ask one more question and then we'll go into the next thing. One more question. Yeah,
yes. Yeah, I just have a question regarding the network operating system. You mentioned Linux.
Okay.
Prior to Linux, we have other Unix distribution. These operating system ideal for network.
Okay, good question.
Such as Solaris, Oracle Linux, and some of these Unix operating system for databases.
Okay, so let's quickly, it's kind of advanced, but let's quickly talk about that. So Unix-based operating system, that is the father, the mother operating system of Linux. So it is from this Unix-based operating system that will now have HP Unix, Solaris Unix. They just have varieties based on Unix. All right. So Linux is one of them. And the difference is Linux is open source. All right. Unlike this one that is proprietary. So if you take an open source operating system like Linux, then it has a community that supports it. So without going into the details, now Linux is a child of those units that you are mentioning. But because these ones are proprietary, they belong specifically to Solaris, to HP, to IBM, we now want the open source version of it that I can just use without buying and is community supported. That is Linux. So they are so identical. Mother and child are so identical that these days, what you have is you call them Unix stroke Linux. So just call them that.
Thank you.
Does it make sense?
Yes.
Oh, great. Okay. Yeah, one more question before we move on, because it's important that I'm getting your feedback and knowing that you are following, and then I can correct you or you're not getting, just dishing out everything. And just one more question.
So I have a question. Hopefully you can understand the question. So say for instance, like Navy Federal, right? Or let's say like a credit union, like a small sized bank compared to, let's say, JP Morgan Chase. You know, JP Morgan is more bigger than the credit union. So would you say the credit unions, what they use right now is a corporate type of service compared to like JP Morgan's using enterprise?
Okay, so in that case, I'll look at it on a more broadly speaking, I would say they are both corporate, but I'll look at broadly speaking, but I'll look at the specific cases in detail. For example, I want to see, are you talking about JP Morgan as a building or JP Morgan as a connection of all of their branches across America? That definitely will be enterprise. That definitely will be enterprise. Windows Server cannot manage even a single building. Windows Server will be crying.
Okay.
Yeah.
So the credit unions too, because they have like multiple locations, right? Spread across, let's say, within Texas only, let's say within Florida only. And they only have like, let's say they have like 50 locations.
Once the network goes beyond a building, it's no longer corporate.
Gotcha. Okay. Awesome.
Once there are, like the person first answered explained, once you have 2 corporate, 3 corporate, 4 corporate connected together, then it is something bigger than corporate.
Okay. Awesome. Thank you.
Okay, guys, let's move on. Now, we talked about Windows Server operating system within corporate networks. We talked about Linux, Unix/Linux operating system within enterprise. Now, these were explained from the perspective of physical networks. Physical computer, all connected through a switch, right? The network engineer will take care of that. And then connected to a Windows Server operating system. And then the Windows Server administrator will sit here, and from here would monitor and administer the entire corporate network. In the case of this one, the Unix guy will sit here, the Linux guy will sit on this system. And from here, please give me 1 second, I'm still explaining. You will manage that corporate network, you will manage that corporate network, you will see all of the corporate networks, and then he would also see all of the millions of customers that are connected. These are just head offices and branch offices from which Facebook runs their server that caters for their 6 billion customers. So, billion? Yeah. What's the world's population? It's 7 billion? Okay, let's just say some 4 billion customers, all right? So to manage all of these millions of customers alongside their office in California, another one, in Texas, another one, then they need a Linux compared to Windows. Now, this, like I said, we are viewing from the perspective of, physical office that you have to go to. But these days, life and things are changing in this automation era. By the way, the automation era is called Industry 4.0 era. When you hear Industry 4.0, compared to the digital era that we're just moving from, this means the era of automation in IT. That's the era we are in. The era we are in, where robots is going to, where you guys are going to be the ones that would program and then create robots that will take over human activities and automate everything. Anyway, now, this whole concept of Los Angeles, like somebody was saying, Chicago, whereas New York, and then laying cables, they have now been replaced with virtual machines, virtual computers in place of physical computers. So I can now, without going to California or without going to New York or without going to Dallas, I can set up these machines right on my system and allocate them to California, New York, Dallas. You know what the meaning of virtual? Not real. When you look at yourself in the mirror, that reflection is virtual. That's not the real you. You are different from that, but it's as good as you because you are seeing exactly what you are. So what we have these days is virtual representation of this physical system. It's no longer invoked to go to the market now to say, please give me 300 servers, give me 300 yards of cable, give me a switch. I want to go and rent a warehouse and then set up. No. That's not invoked anymore. Unless it's really, really, really necessary. The modern way to create that kind of network, if you have a contract that you would have used that kind of network to implement some 15 years ago, is to go and create those virtual machines and put the respective operating system in them, and they will do the same work that you set up all of this for, with the equivalent. So this place that you go into to set up this virtual machine is called cloud. So in cloud, somebody was asking, do you have to know networking? Do you have to know what a switch is? Do you know how to, In cloud, all of those facilities, all of those services are already provided. The networking of the computers are already done. The loading of the operating system will be done for you just by a click of the button. Putting security firewall around this is done for you by the click of the button. Saying you want to run an application, everything is, these services are already there. It's just for you to say, okay, put this service on my computer. This computer is too small. This machine, we call them machine in cloud, not computer. This machine is too small. I want a machine that can process 5 million records at once, not the one that will be processing 50 records and it'll be slow. And then you say, you know what? Give me a big machine. And then they'll warn you, I'm going to charge you high for this big. I don't mind, just give it to me. I want to do this. So you determine everything, and in 20 minutes, all of this is set up and you are live, ready to go with your application. So what we will be learning is, where is this cloud? How do we go into this cloud? How do we now set up virtual machines in cloud and deploy our application there, and even to tell somebody in Chicago to connect to the application and see if they're able to connect, and then, live in this virtual world. And then after we have done that and we have practiced and we get so used to it, we are now able to go into the world and tell Google, I'm able to do that for you. Pay me to do it. Facebook, I can do that for you. This guy, I can do that for you. All right? Now, the cloud is not, the technology in cloud is not completely different from all of these technologies. It's just that they already exist in cloud. Therefore, you will need to know Linux to be able to manage your Linux server in cloud. You will need to know Windows Server to be able to manage your Windows Server in cloud. You will need to know what protocol would allow HTTP. I think I'm going too far. You need to know there is something that you would already know before you go and implement it in cloud. Cloud is just a different environment than the physical environment. All right. So what we'll be doing is we'll be going into cloud to set up machines like I already explained, and practice with all of these machines until we know enough, we practice enough, know enough to claim that, oh, I understand the services that are available in cloud, and I'm able to go into cloud to set up these services, not just for myself, but for anybody who requires that service. And then you go to places where people who require services like that will advertise. And then they, oh, you know it, okay, come, let's test you. And then they'll give you the job. So that is the place of cloud in this concept. We are going beyond, these ones, they still exist, but they are dying, so to speak. We are going beyond physical enterprises traveling to Chicago today to go and see what's wrong with their server, traveling to, everything now is remote. Remote because you can sit in the comfort of your home, access this Chicago server, and fix the problem without you physically going to Chicago. That's the concept of remote. And all of that is cloud. So there is a new world of computers, of machines, of networking, of security, of application deployment. Just mention anything IT in the virtual world. So we are introducing you to that world. That world is called cloud. And we'll show you the services in cloud and how you can use these services again to do whatever it is that you want to do. All right. Any questions on the place of what I just summarized now is cloud computing and the place of Linux as an operating system in cloud computing. Any question on that or any contribution?
So basically, just so I understand, you're saying, okay, you go into the cloud to set up services and virtual machines for different enterprises and corporations?
Yes, especially at enterprise level.
Okay.
Cloud, especially at enterprise level. Anything cloud is always about millions and trillions of devices, Internet of Things. Even if it were possible to connect every human being, of course, it's going to be possible in another 10 years. Every human being in the world through 666 to internet. It is cloud. Only cloud has the ready-made services to make that possible.
Okay, and can you explain a little bit what a virtual machine is, just for more
Okay.
clarity?
Yeah, virtual machine is simply, okay. Let's see. You know your regular computer, right?
Yes.
Okay. So you have your regular computer. To get your regular computer, you go to the market or you order online and say, you know, I need a computer of 64 meg of RAM, megabyte of RAM, capital M, 1 terabyte of hard disk, and then 1 terabyte of hard disk, and then CPU, maybe 7 or 7i or something. All right. So you determine all of this. And then you use this as a configuration to say, this is the server that I want. Why do you want this server? I just got a contract from T-Mobile, and they're giving me 300 million customer records to analyze. I must analyze all of those records and submit the report in a Tableau format within 3 weeks. All right. So what you would have done in those days before is to go hire a place and then get like 50 of this computer and set them up and employ 50 workers, put each person on this computer, connect, and then get a database, put the 300 million customers there, and then give them an application that they will use to retrieve that and do the analysis on each computer. So by the time 50 computers are doing this work on these 3 million records, maybe within 2 weeks, you would have finished the analysis. And then your data analyst will get all of the record and convert them to the format that the company. You get that picture?
Yeah.
Okay. Now we are saying there is no need anymore to go buy these computers. 50 units, then you assemble them, you hire people. No. How they do it now is you go into cloud, for example, AWS. You go into AWS, and then you go look for somebody. Please, I'm a businessman, I have money, but I have this contract, and I don't even have the time to sit down. Is there anybody who can go into AWS and help me set up 50 of these computers? This one would have cost me like $1 million to set up, but you are going to spend maybe less than $300
Okay.
to set up all of this in virtual form. Of course, we are going to say virtual machines almost right away, but not likely to do. In virtual form, so you just go there and you click, like I'm clicking this now. Look at, I'm clicking something, I'm putting it there. And just by doing that, maybe a pop-up will come up and ask me, okay, how much RAM do you want on this system? I'll say 4 gig. How much space do you want in your storage? I'll just answer simple questions and I'll click done. And then I have my virtual machine.
Okay.
Compared to ordering this 3 weeks, I'm waiting, and then so this is the format. So I set this one all up in one night, and by morning, all of my infrastructure, they call them infrastructure, all of my infrastructure is ready, and I tell T-Mobile, okay, give me the data, I'm ready to deploy now, and they give it to me, and I come hire somebody like you and say, oh, you said you are an expert in cloud. I have this contract. Can you help me set up this so that, and then you do it for me, you put it there, and then we analyze, and in 3 weeks, everything is done, and then I collapse all of this and delete everything. So I'll be doing $300, where it would have cost me like $3 million to implement it. So the virtual form, this is the virtual machine form of this physical machine.
Gotcha.
All right.
Thank you.
You're welcome. So you are now able to go into cloud, not just set up virtual machine, which is the basic thing, anybody can do that. In 5 minutes, you'll be able to set up virtual machine and use it to deploy. Not just set up virtual machine in your own case, but you'd also be able, in fact, very, very importantly, maybe even more importantly, to manage the virtual machine. What do you generally use to manage machine or servers? Okay. Do I have a server here? It will be physical server, or more likely virtual server. And then I need to manage this server. What do I need inside this server to manage it?
Operating system.
Operating system.
Operating system. We never mentioned router. Don't confuse router. Operating system. Correct. Thank you. It's operating system. So what operating system do we need? No, before you answer, you are guessing. You need to ask me questions to know what type of operating system we'll need here. So what type of operating system? You are the engineer now, you are the person who has gone through this training. So I'm just a businessman, I have money, I don't really know. So I'm asking you, what kind of operating system would I need inside this server? Please help me.
How many?
Linux.
Sorry?
How many users?
Okay, how many users? That's the line of question. That's the line of question that
It's
I
small.
Hmm?
Windows Server operating system, the small network.
So the right question to ask is how many users, so to speak, would be using
How many users?
the resource? Maybe you are going to put a database inside here. So you want to say how many users will be using this database when I put it inside this operating system. So I'm going to tell you, you know what? It's going to follow an agile process. And therefore, at the beginning, I may have only 5 customers, but I'm sure that within the next, over time, within the next 6 months, this application would have gained market enough to bring me 500,000 customers. So what operating system are you going to use? All right, let me not confuse you more. You were right the first time. Linux operating system.
Linux.
Yes.
Linux, yeah.
Yes. All right, so what was the question that brought us here? Yeah. So
If you were explaining.
Yes, I was explaining that it's good to know how to set up services and machines in cloud, but it's really, really very important to know how to use Linux operating system to manage that machine in cloud. If you are only able to set up machine in cloud, your 5-year-old can set up machine in cloud. There's nothing to it. Yes. But what he cannot do is now manage that machine with Linux operating system. All right, so like you will see later, when people say I'm cloud certified, I can go do stuff in cloud, and then they say they don't know Linux, it does not balance. It does not balance. Because it is one thing to create the server, then who are you going to tell? You are going to tell your supervisor, your manager, that I've created the server, go and hire somebody else to go and implement the purpose you set the server up for. No, it doesn't work. But let's come back to this. All right, guys, so that is the place of cloud computing and the place of Linux. Now, are you beginning to see the relevance of Linux in cloud computing?
Yes.
Cloud computing is basically the concept of going into cloud, knowing what you want, and being able to assemble what you want into a single unit and claiming that, and actually executing the project that you have in mind. But you cannot fully achieve that without Linux. Maybe able to achieve 30% of that. But the real work starts after you have built the house. You cannot build the house and say, what about the plumbing, electricity, the telephony, the cabling, and then your furniture? So those are the things. You cannot just have a brick of space and say you are ready. All right, guys. So now let me take you to let me give you a picture of what you'll be doing as let's move towards DevOps engineering. DevOps engineering. Now that we know what the place of Linux. Now, this is how it works. Okay. Let me show you that. Give me 1 second. Okay. Is that my document? If I had it. Okay, don't worry about it. Okay, so let me give you the picture of where you fall in. Now, this same big man that has this contract or has the idea of developing an application that will serve the world. So let's say these are the customers the world customers that are waiting to use that dating app. All right, because they are connecting through their mobile phone. All right, so these are your customers, millions of them waiting customers. And then this is the guy that understands this concept of this idea, and is going to interact with the business owner, with a potential customer, with users of the application, with operators, with government agencies, with regulatory authorities. They are generally called stakeholders. Stakeholders, right? And he's going to draw requirements. He's going to draw, oh, this is what the application will do, and then how do you want this to work? Oh, it's not working the way you thought it would work. Oh, we actually thought it would. No, that's not how it works. This is how, oh, is that how you want it? Oh, no problem. We're going to integrate that into the application. So he's going to put everything in a table like this. All right? We put everything in a table, all of the requirements, called so this application that we're trying to develop now, let's call it product. So he's going to have any Scrum person here? He's going to have a product.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so you follow what I'm doing. Yeah, that's the product owner. All right. So he's going to have a product backlog. All right. It is from this product backlog that they will now employ somebody else to draw the requirement from. This person is the Scrum Master, the Scrum guy. So he will draw from this, all right, priority of requirements, what we need to do to start the application to get it working. So at this stage, they are going to hire programmers that will convert this idea to computer codes, to the application, to the software. So we call programmers developers. So we're going to have developer 1 working from India, developer 2 working from Japan, developer 3 working from Nigeria, developer 7 from America. So we have them working from all across the world and contributing, working collaboratively and contributing their codes into this central place. So we have developer 1, developer 2, developer 3, 15 developers, and so on and so forth. All right. So after they write these codes that will execute the application, maybe a dating app. You know, it's not a one-time thing, it's forever thing. It keeps improving everything. So once they write the codes, they will contribute the codes to a central place, a collaborative place. They're collaborating. So from there, somebody will now take the code and convert that code into the application, the dating app. All right? All of this happened at this development level, development. It is now time to take this application and put it in a place where it will be available to all of these customers. Guess where is that place that you put it centrally, and all of these customers from the whole world, from Japan, from Nigeria, all of your customers. How many of them? 1 million customers be able to see them. Where is that central place? Anybody? Yes, just say.
Cloud.
Cloud.
Okay.
Now you see the place of cloud.
Okay.
And then once you have the cloud, what are you going to set up in cloud in order to put this application there?
Infrastructure.
That's the general name, server specifically. So you set up your server. And what operating system are you going to use to manage this server that you have just set up?
Linux.
Now you see how all of these things are adding up. Now you now take this application and then you put it inside this Linux server. So from there, it is now available to your customer.
Deployment.
So this concept of taking your application and putting it inside your Linux operating system is called deployment. You deploy your application. And then this place where your application is so that it goes live. Everybody is now saying, we are seeing it's working, it's working. Yeah, they just launched it. It's called operations. Now, there is difference between this application, the place where this application is in development, and the place where the application will be deployed in operations. This is like you are in the drillers are drilling the petroleum, and this is the refinery where it will be refined for the world to consume it. There is distance. There is a wall in between. So somebody has to set up, somebody has to remove that distance. Somebody has to remove that wall so that whatever is being done here, once it is converted to application, that application will just flow through this pipe automatically in automated fashion, and then go get into cloud, and from cloud, go into this server. This pipe is called CI/CD pipeline. And the person that is responsible for setting it up and managing it is the person sitting here. And that is what we are training you to become. I want to train you to become this person sitting here. This person sitting here is called DevOps Engineer. So DevOps means he's able to take from development here, and is able to deploy to ops. What is ops? Operation here. So DevOps will use his computer running Linux operating system to manage the process of, no, not the process, to build codes from development and deploy the resulting application to operation. That is where the name came from, DevOps.
Sorry, did you say build from development?
Build these codes from developers. These are developers, they wrote the codes. So this whole department is called development. Dev, for sure.
Well, if the code is already written, what do you have to build out of it? Like
writing the code
I guess
is
that's
one
my
thing.
question.
Oh, that's a question. Okay, writing the code is one thing. So you could have 3 million lines of code. The codes that control Tesla as a computer, Tesla is a computer on wheel rather than a car that is computerized. So the codes that control Tesla are probably like 3 million lines of code written by maybe 300,000 different people. All right, so all of those lines of code will have to be converted into just one application, which is Tesla. So the process of converting all of this line of code into one application is the build. So writing the code is one thing, building the code into an application is something. You get it now?
Yes, thank
you. So as DevOps engineer, we are going to teach you many tools. That one tool that will help you take the code and build it. Another tool, let's not go into the details, but there are many tools involved here that will join all of these pipes together to automate the process. And then as soon as somebody is making a change in dev, the result is showing in op. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Is it safe to say then that a DevOps engineer is an app developer?
No, these are the developers. It's not safe. DevOps engineer would start, the work of DevOps engineer starts from where the developer's work ends. Once the developer pushes the codes to your repository, they have completed the CI. So you as DevOps engineer, this is where your work starts. And then, like I said, you build and then you deploy to operations. So it is wrong to say that they are developers. They are not developers. They work closely with developers. They are part of the team that the Scrum Master will say, guys, well done. The module we had 2 weeks ago is beautiful. Customers love it. Everything is fine. However, we have this feedback. They don't like this color. They want us to change this color to this. All right. So we'll do that. But what we are doing this week is on top of that module that we built last week, which we will help us to accept our income in dollars. We have a lot of customers potentially waiting in the UK, so we want to put a pounds. No, we just tell them this is the work for this week. So they will now go respectively to their own tools and build the new model that will reflect what the Scrum Master has told them is for this sprint. And then once they finish building, they will push to this central place where everybody can access it. It is from that central place that the work of a DevOps engineer starts. He pulls the code, builds it, and so without this DevOps engineer part, how is the code going to get, how is the built artifact going to get your Linux machine? It will not get there. Without pipes connecting your drill, your rigs to refinery, how would the petroleum be refined? It will not get there. So as DevOps engineers, you are the Anadrill, you are the Schlumberger. I don't know if you are familiar with OFS, all this company, of IT.
Right, I get it now. Thank you.
Oh, beautiful.
So I have a question, please.
Yeah, all right. Let's take that one by one. Yes, please.
So my question is about the build tool. So what kind of build tool are we using to create our build?
Maven.
Okay, all right.
Yeah. So the build tool will depend on what kind of project are you building. We'll be building Java projects, so it will be mostly Maven. Next question.
Yeah, so my question is, so you mentioned the fact that, say for instance, a customer wants, like, let's say there's a change in like the product, maybe like in terms of like the interface, in terms of like the design.
Yeah.
Say for instance, the customers want, so maybe like a red, and they go back to the stakeholder gets across to the Scrum Master. And afterwards, so let's say for instance, a week ago, you already built out the whole application to do the whole process of like moving to the operation, right? So do you have to, so after, whenever you get the information that you have to make the changes in terms of like the color, do you have to build the whole thing all over again, or can you just go to that specific place in terms of like the code just to make all the changes?
Yeah, all of these terms, I don't know if you have noticed. No, you may not have noticed because many of you are new to IT.
Yeah.
The people that are completely new, please don't lose the hope. We're still coming back to you. So in all of these terms, we always add the term continuous this, continuous integration, continuous delivery, continuous deployment, continuous. We always add the term continuous. So this word continuous resolves that issue. It's a continuous thing. In fact, we have the sign like that. You know the meaning of this sign? Infinity. It's always continuous. It goes there, we get feedback, it never stops. It never stops.
Sorry if I may just contribute. I think a simple way to explain that to someone who doesn't know is, you know, when you have like your phone running and you have an update, updates are usually when they make changes to something and then you run the update. That's typically what happens. So the process is running, but then when they make those changes and then you update it, then it corrects that, or that update reflects on your application.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you.
I have a question.
All right.
Yeah, as a DevOps engineer, do you need to know coding to perform your duty?
Knowing coding would be an advantage, but it's not like if you don't know coding, you cannot be a DevOps engineer. Because DevOps engineers have their own tool. Can you see this? This is DevOps engineering.
Yeah.
You have your own tools right here in this pipeline.
Okay.
Your tools are here. Somebody asked one of the two, I mentioned one. So you have your Jenkins, you have your Ansible, you have your Docker for containerization. All of your tools are here. You have your VS Code, you have your Linux. So you have enough tools, and you even have your scripting tool, your YAML, your especially YAML, and then your Kubernetes and Docker here. So you have enough tools to do your work.
Okay, these tools will automate your work for you. You don't need to write any code. What about like commands and all of that?
You need commands now. Linux is commands.
Okay.
So if you don't, you will write scripts. You will write, well, at this level, you may call script codes. You will write codes, but the tools for writing the codes are already provided here. It's not exactly the same thing as what the developers are doing here. So I was trying to differentiate between the codes that developers write and the codes that you write. So that's why I was saying you don't. So the ones that developers write, we call them codes. But the ones that we write here, we call them scripts.
Got it.
We have tools for writing scripts that will automate. Automation is about scripting. You will write scripts. You write script in Linux, Bash script. You write script in YAML. You write script in Terraform. So you write all kinds. You even write script in JSON, but they are not difficult. They are not difficult. There are tools for doing that.
I have a question.
Yeah. Yes.
So you mentioned something. You mentioned an example on a business person that wants to start off with like maybe 5 users and then maybe scale up to like 5,000 users. So I just wanted to ask, like, is that the concept of auto scaling?
No, that's the concept of agility, of agile, building things gradually and building them up.
Okay.
Level by module by module.
All right.
Auto scaling is a concept in. This is fundamentally similar to. It's a concept in cloud. You learn it as part of cloud. How? Yeah, it's similar, but it's different. Yeah, let's not go too deep because there are people that are just starting and they won't write. All right.
Quick question. This is a short one, sorry. So you mentioned codes by the developers and you mentioned scripts by the DevOps engineer.
Correct.
Is there any big difference between them?
Yes. For codes, you have to learn programming languages like Java, Python, PHP, and so on and so forth. But for script, you just learn tools. Tools like
tools, okay.
Yes.
Okay.
So we call them tools here. And those are the tools.
Awesome.
Just a quick one too. It's just a curiosity. You mentioned something about CI/CD pipeline. What's the full meaning of CI/CD?
Continuous integration, and then continuous delivery. That's
okay, thank you.
So the integration is this part, and delivery is this part. So you are integrating, you are connecting both of them.
Thank you.
This is just an overview. All right. So don't let's go too deep. Now, we just looked at the place of DevOps engineering in this scheme. Now you have an understanding that, okay, broadly speaking, you would have 3 parts or 2 parts actually. You have the development part, developers developing codes, and then you have the operations where the code will ultimately go in and be available to the world to use. In between, there is a gap. As DevOps engineer, you will fill in that gap and automate the process of building codes into artifacts and then deploying the resultant artifact as applications into operations. Now, all of this would be done from Linux. All of this you'd have a machine. You as a DevOps engineer, now we are zooming in into the DevOps engineering part. You'd have this machine. In this machine, you would install Linux, and you know how to use Linux. And then you are going to use this Linux as operating system as the fundamental knowledge to run the tools that you will need to deploy your CI/CD and your automation. All of your tools will be running them from here. All right. So you know what? Linux looks something like command. So Linux looks something like this. Can you see this screen? Blank screen. So there'll be it's not a graphic there's no graphic user interface. It's not like Windows. Look at Windows now compared to this. Do you see me using my mouse to click stuff and putting stuff here? People that are completing it right here. You see this? Is there anybody that is completely new to IT here?
Yes.
Well, you're not talking now.
Yes. Yes.
I'm just paying attention.
Are you following? I hope we've not lost you.
Yes, we are following.
Well, we are following until now that you're talking about DevOps
Linux.
engineering. So I'm like, okay, I'm just paying, I don't know. But yeah.
Okay, don't worry, we'll have the time to revise all of this.
Okay,
I just
thank
wanted to
you.
quickly give you a quick overview, just a quick one. Overview. We're not doing anything serious, just overview.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah. Right. So now this is graphic user environment where I can use my mouse to pick things. I'm not writing. But compared to this environment, here there's no mouse to pick. I have to enter a command for things to happen. All right. So Linux is like this environment where you enter commands and make things happen. All right. If you enter a command, something that is not a command, it tell you bad command. It will just be staring. It will not do anything. So what are the commands? You will learn them depending on what you want to make happen. You learn the appropriate command to use. But the point I'm making here is most of your DevOps job and deployment will be from this environment like this, where you'll be typing. For example, you want to say install Maven and use Maven to build Maven package. In other words, build the codes from the repository for me. Of course, this is a back command. Now, this is what DevOps is. And this is why DevOps people are paid very well. You need to learn you need to learn. It's not so difficult, especially in my class, because things are really, really simplified. You just be fun learning. You don't even realize that you are learning so much. Now, there is good news. There is something that is coming up. Now that you have seen this part, that is command line interface, we call it CLI, compared to this other part that is called GUI, graphics user interface. Most Linux, most DevOps related implementation is done here. Now, which is awesome, beautiful. There's no,
I'm
it's not so
sorry,
hard.
quick one.
No, please
Sorry,
hold
are
on.
you sure?
Let me learn.
Yeah, because
Now,
I can only see one screen. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah. Are you sharing your
one
screen?
screen?
Yeah.
Okay,
Yes, we
don't
can
worry.
only
Let
see
me
one
quickly learn
screen.
with this so that I don't come back and repeat everything. Now,
Okay.
there is something now called, where's my screen? Okay, I think you can see this one. So regular, traditional DevOps is done in command line interface. Now, that means you need to learn Linux and learn, this is hard, and this is, well, no, it's not hard, I'm sorry. This is kind of voluminous. And then this career path can take you up to earning, at least I've seen somebody earning 450K, maybe from a single job with FANG or from 2 jobs of 170, 250. Now, the other partner is that there is a new concept of DevOps that is gaining ground, that is coming from behind. This still remains number one. You cannot fight with this one. This is the father. But there is a baby DevOps that is coming from behind now, and the world is recognizing, and it's actually jobs are not actually available. That other kind of DevOps is called Agile DevOps compared to this traditional DevOps. So what's the big deal? What's the difference? The difference is DevOps has become so popular that Microsoft, through its platform Azure, has created a software as a service for DevOps. In other words, it's just like you are using PowerPoint or Microsoft Word, and then you are just clicking stuff. You are clicking. You are like you are using Jira in Scrum. You are just clicking stuff, and instead of using command line interface, you are now using graphic user interface to do your DevOps. This is the lazy way of doing this. But the good news is that even though it is lazy, it is new, there are now jobs coming up everywhere for people who know how to use Azure DevOps. And these jobs are paying well, sometimes as high as 150. Now, this January, with your class specifically, after you have learned, maybe after, or maybe you might not even want to go that way, although I recommend that you first of all go that way, you are now also going to learn Azure DevOps. You are going to learn it the simple click way, and you are going to learn it the traditional way that will take you to as high as you ever want to go forever. Or this one that is still coming, of course, there are more job opportunities. So you are going to learn this one. We're introducing this one, which is the graphic user environment version of this. All right, so I've landed. Did that make sense? So what I just summarized is, instead of this one way of using command line interface to run commands to implement DevOps, we now also have another way of deploying DevOps. There's already a software where you can just go and click what you want, like you will do in cloud, and your DevOps, your entire CI/CD will be set up in graphic user environment compared to ELI environment. So your class will have either the addition of Azure on top of DevOps, or alternatively, you may now, for the first time ever, say, I don't want to do it this traditional way. There are too many commands to learn. Let me do it this easy way. Then you can optionally go for Azure DevOps. However, that does not remove the requirement of, first of all, knowing how to use Linux and how to use AWS Cloud. AWS Cloud can never go. It's still number one. You cannot go to the market, to the job market to say, I know how to use Azure DevOps. I know how to use Azure Cloud. I know how to use Google Cloud, but I do not know AWS. It's not accepted. You must first of all know AWS as the market leader with 33% of the market before you may now learn something else on top of AWS. You cannot replace AWS with any other cloud provider. Therefore, the courses you are going to learn to become DevOps engineer would be Linux. In fact, let's start from the bottom. Will be you are going to learn Linux. It's a pyramid, so everybody can learn Linux. That's no big deal. That doesn't necessarily, although it prepares you, gives you a good foundation for IT, it doesn't necessarily give you a job. On top of Linux, you are going to learn to go into cloud and do cloud services using AWS. All right? That has moved you from the high competitive area to the next, but it's still not okay. Now, we are going to learn something else called infrastructure as code. The concept of infrastructure as code is you cannot be going into cloud manually to use botting to set up your servers and to deploy your services. You must learn how to do that by writing scripts and then running the script to go into cloud to do them for you. This is where automation starts. It is when you have learned to do this that you can now say, finally, I'm in IT. You cannot go into the job market, look for a job. You might be able to earn something like 35K thereabout, as sometimes even 100. Why? I'm just trying to be modest. So at this level, yes, you are an IT person. Or you can decide, you know what, let me go all the way and get to this DevOps where I'm not just earning some 90K, and now also have the prospect, the possibility of earning 250, 300 in the near future. You can go all the way to DevOps. This is where there are few people and the demand is hot. And once you know what you are doing, the jobs are ready. Because like the pyramid says, many people here, but fewer people do. If you are this high entry barrier, and therefore you are respected more and prized. This is where you should be. You can do this either at the level of traditional DevOps or at the level of what? Azure DevOps. If you are lucky, or if you are really wow, you may able to say, you know what, let me learn both of them. All right, guys, I will take a break here and then I'll take your questions. So this will make you a professional in at least 4 different areas of IT. First of all, you become a Linux system administrator after you complete this one in the first month 1. All right. After that, in month 2, you will learn AWS, and this one will make you a cloud solution architect. Cloud solution architect. And then in month 3, you will learn how to automate cloud architecting using Terraform and maybe CloudFormation. And then in month 4 and 5, we are going to focus on how to use DevOps tools to build CI/CD pipeline and take application from developers and deploy that applications to operation. And then set up monitoring tools to monitor.
Wow.
Month 4 and 5. Month 4 and 5. All right. There is no barrier once you get here. There is no barrier. The market will be open. All right. So these are the courses that you will learn. And then I think let me just round up and then I'll just throw the floor open for questions. So our unique selling point, schedule, fees, and offers. Our unique selling point is basically I have a way of, because of the experience that I've had delivering and the success rate that we have gotten, of these things may appear complex. How are you going to learn this, thing? It's not that complex, all right? We are going to break it down into simple terms that you can understand and relate with and be happy, be laughing and be smiling, be excited learning. And then you'll be learning it so deeply, not just on the surface, that there is no interview that you cannot pass. So rather than saying, rather than asking questions about, do you help us get interviewed? Do you help us? You don't need help when you know this stuff. When you do not know it, of course, you are looking for shortcuts. Let's sneak you in by the back doors. But when you really know it, they ask you this, you know, you don't need help. So rather than looking for how to help you, we are just focusing on how to give you all of the technicalities that you need to qualify anyway. Look, fortunately, you're already in America, so you can succeed in the job market in America, then of course, no place that cannot hire you. So my emphasis is on knowing this thing, understanding the concept and knowing it such that even if they bring the whole thing down and say build it all over, you'll be able to do it. Because in any case, we are building things all over. We are never bringing any ready-made server to class to say, let us continue. No. Every time we come to class, we are building a new server from scratch so that you make mistakes. You learn how these things are done. Nothing is prepared before class. All right. So that's our unique selling point. And then the schedule I already shared with you. For Linux, it will be Mondays and Wednesdays. All right. And then AWS is about the same. We'll just look at the schedule later, but specifically for Linux, since that's what we're starting with, Mondays and Wednesdays. And for fees, I already shared that with you. But something we can do about the fee, because there are a lot of resources, not meaning to scare you. I'm just saying that many of the things that you should be struggling about on your own at this level, we have already provided. So it's just going to be fun. All right. So the particular course that is marked for $1,500, I'm going to take off $500 on that course, so that course will be $1,000 for you. And then on top of that, I may, depending on the number, depending on whether I'm already good with the number and therefore I don't need any more money, I may be able to give you, this is not the $500 discount on the 1.5 course is a promise. That is a promise. I'm not going back on that. But this one is not a promise. I may be able to do it. To give you Azure DevOps on top of the traditional DevOps, free of charge. Azure DevOps by itself, if you decide, I'm not going the traditional way, I just want to go for this one is $1,000 for 1 month. But if you do this, it means that everything is simple for you. So I can just add this for you free of charge. So those are the offers and the fees, and then the schedule as already posted. Now, would you need to do certification for each of these courses after Linux do certification? After AWS do certification to prove to employers that you are good? After, no, you don't need. You don't need certification on every subject that you do. The only certification that you may need, in fact, people are getting, because the job opportunities are so much out there, people are actually getting jobs these days without certification. All right. But it's okay, especially for people coming from outside of tech, for you to have something to show to employers or recruiters that, yes, even though I read law, I read something different from tech, I am now a tech person by this certification. So it's recommended, especially to those people, to write certification. And the only certification that you should bother to write is AWS Certified Solutions Architect. Do you need to write it before you start looking for jobs? No. Once you're able to get job interview and you are tested, because we are going to give you all the projects that you'll be interviewed on at this level. All right. So you are able to get job. Many people are getting job certification. However, it is highly suggested that if you are from outside IT, then you should write this. Only this certification is enough to prove to employers and recruiters that you know what you are doing. You don't have to write many. Maybe after you get it into the industry and you are doing well, you are earning, you can decide to do multiple. But for entry level, just the AWS certification will do. I'll give you the DOMS and the support and the everything. Not paying for you, you pay for yourself. It's $150, $150. But aside the payment for the certification would guide you, and most important of all, give you a very detailed technical training that will make the questions really easy for you to do. All right, guys. That is where I'll stop now, and then we'll take questions. Are you still there?
Are we able to ask questions?
We're here.
All right. Yes. You want us to take just 5 minutes break and then come back and deal with as many questions as you have?
Sure. Yes, sir.
All right.
Okay.
So let's just go for 5 minutes.
Yes, please.
Prepare your questions, and then let's crash them one on. See you in 5 minutes. All right, guys, we are back.
Yes, sir.
All right, we can take questions now.
Okay, so one of my questions was, so I know the billing is monthly, so like to learn Linux, you pay the 600. So are you saying that for that month you'll only have classes on Monday and Wednesday?
Yes.
Okay,
Just twice.
understood. Okay, understood. Copy. Thank you.
So yes, sir, Mike. Sir,
Yeah.
my question is you about the payment for the 1,600. So you said you give 1,500, rather. You said you're giving a discount for 500, but if you want to learn it with the Azure, the payment would be how much?
Azure is a different cost, so you'll be charged uniquely. But let's see how this class goes. Let's see how many people sign up. Let's see, and then I'll see what I can do.
Okay, but for now, the 1,500,
yeah, that's
you said
definite.
go ahead and pay 1,000, right?
Yes.
Okay. All right.
I mean, when we get there, so you are coming all the way. You're not jumping into the DevOps one. That's what I call it. Okay. So you starting from Linux, and then on Linux you build AWS, on AWS you build Azure as code. So with that good standing, with that solid foundation, because you have passed through me and I've trained you, it's easy for me to train you on the other hand. But if you're coming from somewhere else, you are going to be asking a lot of questions. How did you get that? And I'll be giving you a lot of material there to not be this. But if we are starting together and I'm mentoring you from the scratch, there are a lot of resources that I'll give you, even from the beginning, that make life at the top really, really easy. Yeah. So
all right,
can I go? Yeah. We'll use it.
All right, so I have a comment first, and I think I have a question there after. The first comment is I want to say that thank you for putting this together. The reason why I came here is because I wanted a second skill, right? At the moment, I'm an agile coach, and if you look at what is going on in the industry right now, there's been a whole lot of mess going on. So I just wanted to take on, skill. And
what's going on? I'm interested. I don't know what's going on with that.
With the layoffs and everything that's going on in the IT world. So you just wanted a second skill so that you can get your footings right. And so what I was looking for really is somebody who is a teacher, not somebody who's just going to read out handouts and, blah, blah, blah. I'm a facilitator myself, like I already said. So I wanted to thank you. I see that's the teaching skill. And so I do not doubt you when you say that you're going to, take our hands and, walk us through this. So I have good confidence from what I've seen today. My question now is far above and beyond, this training. When people get on the job and they need assistance, I mean, maybe first 1 month or first few weeks, right? How do you support? I know that you have a whole lot of students that passed through you prior to now, and in this current WhatsApp group, I think about 50 something. So how then do you support everybody when they start to pull you, knowing that you also have your own life to live?
Yeah. So what we do there is once you complete the program, we move you from the training group to the alumni group. So the alumni group will be people who have completed training, and many of them, more than 50% of them, are now employed here and there. So you support yourselves on that network. Questions relating to interview, questions relating to challenges that you are facing. It's a WhatsApp group. So just post them on a group and people will just come up. People you don't know, and maybe also people that colleagues that you would have noticed from the one you begin to notice people in class. For example, you're an agile person. By the time you begin to make contributions that are pro-agile, they will notice you and then they will reach you behind the scenes to say, I'm having this issue with agile. Yeah, you also see people who have, some of us are like 15 years experience. I had something that necessitated me reaching out privately to some of my colleagues. About 7, I actually reached out to like 15 of them and 7 people replied. And you're in my class, look at your profile. So some of us are really experienced in different areas of IT, so they'll be supporting. So the networking at the alumni level will help you with that more than I can. You got it? All right.
All right.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, just me.
I have a question. So I only pay for Linux classes, but what if I want to go up to AWS?
Yeah, just take it one by one. After Linux, you enjoy it, and every promise I have made, you see that this is not really hard. Then you take the next step.
Thank you.
Yeah, Bola.
Yeah, so real quick, I appreciate your time, going over this with us. This is beautiful to see. But going back to what I think was Boston said, is an agile coach, and you want to get into AWS solution architect, and you have, your previous experience is like zero on that. Would you be able to get a job? Even though I understand that, you're going to get a certification. I know that's not enough, especially in the US, experience is what counts. So you don't have any experience on your resume. All you have is like an example, an agile coach. How would you be able to get into, solutions like say, knowing that at that level, you're not going to start as an entry level, you don't want to go back to being an entry level applicant.
Entry level, yeah, you would have to be entry. You would have to be entry level. But entry level at DevOps level is somebody with 4 years, not really 4 years experience. That's what we call entry. Usually, if it's less than 4, it's be difficult to employ. So how we do it is your training is so comprehensive, so intense with a lot of projects. It's going to count as your experience. And then I being your trainer, you may use the training to say, I will know my trainees personally. This is how we've been doing it. To use me as a referee to say, I can attest to the fact that you are, to the claims that you are making in your reason. So when they reach out to me, we know how to do it.
Great. So we can provide your number to say, hey,
definitely. 4 months,
experienced. Yeah.
Right now, I don't even know you, but 4 months together, you go through my courses and I know you. I would have known you enough to say, yes, why not? How else are you going to get a job? There's no other way other than for me to submit myself to say, yes, I know him. It's everything that he has claimed. Because actually, you would have done it. You are not lying about it. So if you are saying, I'm able to deploy CI/CD project, I've deployed it for 5 Java applications, it's true because you actually did it. So there's no lie about it. And that's how they get job. In fact, the latest one that I shared with, let's not talk about it. We'll talk about it when not everybody here. Yeah.
Can I add to that, please?
Yes.
Yeah. The concept of AS also make it easier for you to repeat the process so many times. Unlike before, where you have to, clean up your server or this thing, you can start afresh so many times. You can replicate that process. In that process, you attain some of the experiences that you need. You make mistake. You be able to correct your errors. So because I've been in a program, but in this case, it's about database, where we train people to learn about database. So we create virtual server in the old way, they will clean it up, they start all over again. So I think that might help to explain, how you will attain the experience. Because even some of the people out there, they don't have opportunity to start from the beginning. They already made the system in place. You just maintain or work on it, but you will have opportunity to start afresh so many times.
That's right. Thank you for the contribution. We'll be building servers from scratch all of the time. If you ever see me bring a server to say, no, please remind me, we should build from scratch so that you know the mistakes, you know what we need to put in the server to run it.
I have a question, and this goes to the last speaker before you. You said the concept of AS. What does that mean?
Okay, I was going to ask you.
I mean AWS. Working from
okay.
So he means working from a live cloud environment
Yes,
rather than simulated
yes.
environment.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah. Yes.
Yes.
Adelaide.
I have a question.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah. Apart from the fee that we're going to pay for the class, and we know we're going to be using a lot of tools like AWS, which I believe might not be free for us to be able to achieve whatever we want to achieve and setting up server and all of that. Is there any other costs that come with it?
No other cost. So your cloud account will be free for the first 1 year.
Okay.
Yeah, so I'll show you we'll start, we're going to set up, we're going to start that the next class. Will be free for the next 1 year. And then all of the materials that you would need and resources are already.
And all of the applications
in my mother.
we learn.
The applications? You mean
Yeah.
tools?
Yeah, the tools that we'll be using.
Of course. You're not paying anything else. Everything is already taken care of. Okay. That's why it's a bit pricey, because they are not. For some of them went through cross 7 rivers and 7 seas together, but they are all now assembled in logical way, and it just be a matter of copying and pasting.
Yeah, it's good. And on the Linux administrator or class, is it something that you will teach us how to operate Linux well as administrators they can troubleshoot, they can add users, remove users, and all of that? Is it going to be part of the class too?
Yes. So the first class, you will learn how to set up a Linux server and cloud, and then how to log in, there are 3 levels: basic commands, intermediate commands. That will include network user administration, how to create user accounts, how to create group, how to attach security to the group, the read level permission, churn permission, mode 777, 444. Yeah. And then, of course, you go to the advanced level where you now learn to install packages. All right. And then once you are done with installation of packages, you can go into configuration files and edit, and then you restart system. Then you are good. We'll now go into cloud, and then you will learn other services in cloud.
One last question. I actually work right now, and my work is a little bit taxing. I work as IT auditor, and it's a little bit stressful on a daily basis, So is it possible for somebody like me that is always busy on the system from like 9 to 6 o'clock to cope with this class?
That's not my question. It's yours to answer. Do you feel that
it depends? It depends on I'm just thinking about the material that is in this class. I don't want to get into it and at the middle. I don't want to say at the long run. At the middle, I'll be like, oh, because of the stress, I won't be able to cope.
And it's really up to you it's up to you. Can you take 2 days a week? And in case you miss classes, will the videos do? Are you able to?
Okay.
Yeah. So it's part of the reason we're giving the first 1 week free, so that at least you have a feel of, oh, is this something I can combine with my current job, or if you.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Please, I have a question.
No, I have a question.
Let's take Larry first, please. Larry.
Okay. Yeah, my question relates to what the last person talked about, because I already took a Linux class, but due to my work schedule also, I was unable to advance to AWS.
Oh, okay.
So, but this time around, I just want to take advantage of this opportunity. So I want to ask, how much, so for me, I will be enrolling in AWS.
Okay.
So I want to know how much it's going to cost.
$600. I thought you took your Linux class with us?
Yes.
Okay. So you should know the prices now.
Yeah, but you just added me to the group today, so I didn't.
Yeah, the normal price it has not changed from what you knew when you joined the Linux.
Okay.
It hasn't
Okay.
increased, yeah.
Okay. Okay. Thank you.
All right. Yes, Greg.
Thank you. My question is about, you were saying something about Azure DevOps the other time. So I want to ask, do we need to learn aside AWS? Are we gonna be learning Azure in this program?
No, we're not learning Azure. Azure
So,
is an independent software from Azure as a cloud provider. So we are looking at cloud only from AWS perspective.
So without Azure knowledge, we'll be able to use Azure DevOps, right?
Exactly what I just said. You were not listening. Azure DevOps is independent of Azure knowledge. So it's an application. They just happen to bear the same surname because it's from the same company. So it's a software as a service, yes. So it's by itself. It's just by itself. You can connect it to Azure if you want. You can connect it to AWS if you want. You can connect it to any other cloud service. It's independent. Yeah.
All right. I think I missed something. I just want to ask. It might be a repeated question. So from start to finish, it's going to be $1,000. Correct?
$1,000?
I don't know. I'm asking you. Yeah. From Linux to.
We'll post the cost fee. We've already done that. So the first 3 months is $600 per month.
Okay. So the first 3 months is going to be Linux, AWS, and IAC.
Correct.
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 Okay.
And then 4th month and 5th month will be DevOps. These are the big costs. So 4th
How
month
much is that?
Is 1,500 for just 1 month. But we're saying that, we're saying that on that 1.5 we'll give you 500 discounts, so it'll be 1,000 for you. And then the last 1 month,
1,600.
the last 1 month will be another 1,000. So altogether 4,300. No,
it's going to be
4,300 minus
500.
500, yeah.
3,800.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay. Nobody has paid full amount of this.
Hello. Hi.
Yes. Yeah. Tammy.
Hi, my name is Tammy. Concerning the payment, I was just thinking, if I plan to pay for 3 courses all at once, will I enjoy discounts, say from Linux to infrastructure?
No, it's already discounted at those 6,000.
Okay. Okay, thank you.
All right.
No. The payment, does it have to come one time, or can we
no, monthly, 600 every month.
Okay.
Yeah. I have a question, please.
One question.
Yes.
Regarding the alumni group, is there any subscription?
No.
Possible.
Free service.
When you join it later on, so would there be any subscription in terms of for the support that is going to?
No.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. The idea is you are networking with colleagues, and they can support you. There's a lot of things they do in the background to help themselves, but it's not. I can't be saying it here. Well, if you reach out to them privately, you passed. How did you pass that interview? I've been looking for a job for 3 months now. I interact at that level, and then, this is the trick. It will also make it public. People who pass certification will post it there, and then everybody will congratulate them. Then you can reach out to say what material did you use to pass a certificate. That kind of network.
Well,
yes.
I have a question.
Yes.
Yeah, thank you. With anyone with no IT experience at all, join this class or start this class?
Anyone without what experience?
You without no IT experience at all.
IT experience, you mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. We're starting from scratch. We're starting from Linux.
From Linux. Okay, that's cool.
We'll take it slowly. And then you have the videos, you watch the video over and over, and then the group will be there. The 50 people, 43 people, 50 something people in the group will reduce to something like, by the time it's time to make payment and it's time for serious business, will go down drastically. And then we post, we'll be there to support you. Yeah. You have issues while you are practicing, just take a screenshot, put it there. Your colleagues will just say, I had that same issue. This was what I did. I'll be there to say, have you tried this? Have you tried this? We just resolve them, all of them together. So it is the accumulation of all of those practices, the mistakes here, failure there, that you assemble to say, I have experience. Then you can share.
Okay. All right. That's good. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Yeah, I have a question. Probably I missed this or I miscalled you. You said something about job interview preparation. Is it part of the package?
Yeah.
Separate.
Part of the training, especially at the level of DevOps. The projects where we have at least from project 1, we have at least 5 projects. They are from interviews, straight from interviews. So it is not something that we wait for end of training to do. It's already embedded in the project. So as we are discussing now, instead of discussing this normal issue, we'll be discussing technical terms. I'll be asking you questions about if this was presented at interviews, haven't completed the training, haven't completed the practicals and the project. How would you answer it? Yeah, it's part of the training. The only thing that will come at the end of the training is sample resume that already has everything that we have covered in all the way from Linux commands to Kubernetes. Everything that will cover all of the projects, we already have them spelled out the way that it will attract the attention of the recruiter. We just give that to you and then you modify here and there.
Count me in. I got that.
Okay, I have a question.
Yes, Rosh.
Okay, so at what point do you take the AWS certificate?
It's better to just complete the entire training, face the training, know it technically, be confident, then go and read additionally for the certification after the entire 5 months. For some of you, maybe 6 months.
Okay, into the 6 months.
Yes.
Okay, sounds good. Thank you.
All right, you're welcome. Yes. Adelaja, you want to put down your hand if you're not asking questions? Are we showing? Are we done? Any other person? Let's go to the next page. Nobody's asking questions here.
Sorry, I have a quick question. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
So do you have like an exit strategy for someone who decides they want to stop at the 3rd month? Like say they're done with at that level, like to get them set for interviews and all that. Do you have an exit strategy for people like that?
No. Yeah, however, you can stop anytime, especially if you feel that,
Yeah, and
no
the reason
exit
why I ask
strategy.
is,
Yes, I understand. It happens for
Yeah.
different reasons. Some people are nursing mothers. Some people feel, man, you've given me so much in 3 months. Let me go and digest this, then I'll come back. And then, different reasons. But there's no special exit strategy. I'm not able to help with it because the resume, for example, is packaged to fit the complete DevOps role. So there's no way to remove this to customize only those 3.
Okay, that's what I was
However,
trying to
people
figure
do
out.
have, I've actually also had not many, maybe just 1 or 2 cases of people stopping training because they got job at the IAC level.
Yeah. So let me ask you this. If can you just walk me through the role of the solutions architect or the cloud solutions architect in this entire process?
No, not today. I'll be scaring the people that don't have those stuff for the stuff.
Oh, okay, that's fine. We can have that. Can we have that conversation separately?
Yeah, definitely. Sometime once they are comfortable with the terms that I'll be using.
No problem.
You just mention all those terms and they say there's no way I'm going to understand all of that in 2 months. I'm not doing it.
All right, thank you.
All right, so it's actually meant to be 2 hours. We've done 2 hours today.
I have a question.
Yes. Okay. Go on with your question. iPhone.
My first question is, what is the duration of the class and what time does it start again?
Okay, so Linux will be just 2 hours a day because it's just the beginning. But by the time we get to AWS, it will be 3 hours a day for 2 days, Mondays and Wednesdays. 2 days a week, Mondays and Wednesdays, and then 6 p.m. Texas time to 8 p.m.
Yeah, okay.
6 p.m. to 8 p.m. Texas time, 2 days a week.
Okay. And once you get to like the DevOps stage or like the Linux, well, so is it more like hands-on or is it more like, oh yeah, I have these materials for you, you guys can go?
No. There's no material. It's always hands-on from day one.
Okay.
From day one. The materials will just be, this is the command to copy and paste to get the result. So that's what the material is for. There's no go and read chapter 1 said before. No, it's always hands-on.
Oh, okay, awesome. And also, like for the my next question, is there a requirement for like an undergraduate, maybe like a bachelor's or anything for this position in terms of like if you want to apply for jobs and stuff like that?
No. Yeah. Certification rather is what is required.
Oh, certification.
Okay. I mean, it's what is not necessarily required. It's what is recommended.
There, I don't know who the person is.
So right now, so this looks kind of enticing right now, the DevOps engineering route, but I'm currently studying cybersecurity in school right now. Okay. Yeah, it looks, do you think cybersecurity might be in line with DevOps engineering?
Yeah, not necessarily line, but in terms of is it an advantage to know about cybersecurity on top of DevOps? Okay. Definitely.
Oh, shit.
Oh, it could be. Okay. Okay.
So we had a class in one of these classes. No, January. It was in January. This you said that I had last year. So this guy was already a cybersecurity person, but by the time he completed IEC, in fact, we only just started DevOps.
Okay.
He got a job. He got a job with the IEC level on top of cybersecurity, but he was still able to come back to complete the training. They was telling me of how the job was really, really tough on him. But luckily, he was able to now, because I was trying to bring him in to support me as the as assistant trainer. But now he has a better job that he was telling me, I'm available now if you need me. So the point I'm making from that reference is that he was able to get a job before the end of the DevOps training because of his cybersecurity experience on top of
that.
Yeah.
Awesome. And for this, like after completing this program, I know is for the technical interviews, is there any way we're escaping that or it's like a must?
To face technical interview before you get a job?
Yeah, like before getting the job, yeah. Like for
you want to baptize, but you don't like water, you don't want to enter water. There's no other way.
There's no other way.
Technical interview. No, there's no other way.
You have to, okay.
And would you other way?
That too? Would you train us on the technical on like
that is what I'm not training you on anything else. I'm training you to pass technical interview.
To pass it. Okay.
That's the thing I'm training you for. Nothing else.
I have one more question.
Yes.
Yeah, this is concerning registration. I tried to since I started with you, communicating with you directly, not through the WhatsApp. Yeah, I tried to log in, to register through the website, but it was saying that.
Yeah, just tell me, I tried to register, I didn't. I'll give you the link.
Oh, okay. Thank you.
Just send me that.
Right.
And that website is changing in another 5 days or 6 days. So I won't just bother to correct that mistake on the old website. I'll do it on the new website.
All right.
And then, yeah.
I have a question.
Yes.
Yeah, good evening, sir. Sorry, this is Toby.
All right, Mr. Toby.
Yeah, I was sorry. I had that issue with respect to my internet, but eventually was resolved just very late. However, what I'm trying to know is that is it possible for me to still participate in the program because I have done Scrum? I mentioned that to you earlier. I did Scrum with some of the training programs that we have in the federal government, which I used to work for.
However, this application for that, but then I want to expand on that Scrum, perhaps with addition of some other thing that I might be doing to really get more wider experience in doing the Scrum. Is it possible that what you have would give me the advantage of working on that Scrum, or maybe trying to go into something entirely different from what I have already had?
What I have is not building on Scrum. I have a couple of trainees that are currently from other classes that are currently doing Scrum, and the reason they are coming to my program is they want to move from Scrum, from the meetings, according to them, boring meetings, and not being a participant in the real technical project. They want to move from that to the technical area. So if that's the goal, yeah, my program fits in very well. But to build you on Scrum, unless the recommendation there would be to maybe train to become a product owner, but that program for our certified Scrum product owner scheme is not available right now, maybe in March or so. So what we have now is something that will transition you completely to technical role. If that's what you're interested in, oh, beautiful. If not, then no.
So, okay, so I say more or less that if what I did may not be somehow intertwined with what you are presently doing or what you intend to teach us until around March, then that time frame would give me an idea whether or not what you be teaching at that time would help me to expand my variety.
Yeah, that course is called product owner. I don't know if you were in class or we drew the diagram of the place of product owner and Scrum Master. So you are outside of the technical area. You are in the discussions, trying to get the requirement, what would this, and then once you get that right, you now come to your developers and say, this is what we need to do. Right? Okay. But this program now is taking you beyond that level to what actually happens after the developers have done their work and the codes are ready. They submit the code, and then how do you take that code and deploy, and what do you do on the code to get the application from it and deploy?
All right,
So,
yeah. If that's what you are saying, more or less that would happen, then I would like to widen my horizon to go into another area then and leave what I had done already, which is Scrum. Even though I have retired from ABI, but I applied from federal government that I was working on, but I can still do this area that you're talking about now. Is that correct?
Okay. Yeah. That'll be fine. It will be a good. We'll give it a try with Linux and see how you're able to cope with Linux. If you understand Linux, and then I mean, I've scared people with Linux, and I said it's difficult, and then they came back to me and said, "Is that Linux?" It's even more interesting than Windows. It's not difficult. I'm going all the way. So it depends on how you feel after you have completed Linux. If you feel, wow, this is interesting, I feel at home, I'm so relaxed, this is something I want to do, then we'll go on. Otherwise, because there are hardly, but the good thing is even this, the training is separated into, like we said, Linux system administration. So even if you decide to opt out at that level, at least you have covered a module, and you can say, depending on if you completed the project, that, oh, I may not be a cloud person, I may not be this, but at least I'm a Linux administrator. Yeah, there are jobs at that level. It's just that the competition at that level is very high because anybody can come in, do Linux in 1 or 2 months. So the competition is high, so much is expected. So that's why we don't give people hope. But it's not to say that people don't still get jobs as Linux.
All right. Okay. All right, that's fine. Thank you so very much. Sorry, like I said, I was unable to get in because of my internet was giving me a joke. Yeah, I finally resolved that because that. So when do you think we might be able to start another one again by this month? Is that next week, Thursday again, or go earlier than Thursday?
You mean another class or another session of
another
training?
class? I mean, I know you have 2 classes a week or so.
Yes, it's by the way, today is
Thursday. Yes, sir.
Should we meet tomorrow?
No, you don't have anything for tomorrow, though. That's what I'm worried about.
Oh, okay, Friday. Eh? It should be Mondays and Wednesday. Okay, yeah. It will definitely not be. It will be the Monday, sorry. Yeah, you're right. Monday. Monday, yeah.
Okay.
Monday is the next class.
All right, sir. So hopefully I'll be seeing you on Monday next week then.
Okay. Okay.
Thank you, sir. God bless, sir.
You're welcome.
All right, sir.
Quick question, sir.
Yes, sir.
So my name is Abdul. So if for any reason I'm not able to join a live session, do we have recorded videos to go back to?
Yes, Abdul. So every time we complete a class, within 3 hours of completion, I post the recorded video on YouTube, and then I give you the link so that only you can access it privately. Even though it's on YouTube, it's not publicly available.
Okay. Thanks very much.
You're welcome.
Sir, my question is maybe after making payments, do we have access to like talking with you directly over the phone just in case we run into any problem?
Chat on WhatsApp, on the same WhatsApp group, you post your problem. Oh, I was trying to screenshot. I'm trying to do CD ... It's not working. Just take a picture, put it on the group, and then we'll tell you. So I'll support you via, you may mute yourself. I'll support you, I and your colleagues and my other trainers will support you via chat messages on the group, but talking may not, I may not be opportune to have the time to talk to many people.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. But once in a while, it is related to it, especially after you have completed training. If I see a call, the impression I get is this is related to interview. So most of the time, I try to call back one and two. And yeah, just to say, okay, how did the interview go? What else do you need?
Okay.
Yeah.
So I wanted to ask too, is there a recommended number of hours you can like practice in a week after the normal 2 hours or 4 hours a week that we do Mondays and Wednesdays, and then you also have to practice a couple of hours to be able to do what you have to do?
To be honest, no. Yeah, I see people quoting 300 hours, but how do I determine? If we practice in class and then you also practice and in 2 hours you are done with practice, wait for the next project. There's no need. No. I don't have a recommendation on that.
Okay.
But for me personally, there's no day. In fact, if I'm 1 hour out of practicing something, then my body is biting me. So I practice every day, especially with a lot of young guys coming up and claiming that I'm teaching DevOps. So I have to keep practicing, like going to the gym every day, finding ways to do things better. But this is not gym, this is my company. So for me, I'll practice at least 100 hours per week. Because I always have to find ways to do things better than they are done now. Even if I already know something, I want to know, okay, what is the latest tool that is used? And you guys will be coming up with very challenging questions in class. Some of you will even bring interview questions to class. You'll have to try them together. So you may want to take, if for example, you already have a full-time job, then you can't do that. So if 2 hours is all that you've got, then put it in. If you have all of the time, like I have, then put in 100 hours per week.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. Yes. Abdul already answered the question, right?
Yeah, you did, so thanks.
All right then. iPhone, you want to put your hand down? All right, so I see there are chats, but I can't be reading chat now. I'm sure you have asked the questions that you had on chat.
So I want to ask, what are the methods of payment?
We can do cash app, we can do Zelle, we can do online payment. So I'll just put the link and then you click and pay online.
Okay, cool. Thank you.
Let's see how many people we can get to make payments so that. But you are still attending the next class anyway. On Monday, free of charge. That'll be the last one. And then we are going into cloud. We are setting up server, and we are starting to practice Linux. So you see, have a feel of what a typical training day looks like. No talk. It's just practical. And then of course we have the manual that now has the explanation. So the approach to the training is understand, don't just say CD something because I asked you to do it. No. So you have to think, reason, okay, what do I want to achieve? I want to achieve this. To achieve this, what are the possible routes? Okay, I could do it. Well, if I do it like this, I'll be blocked there. This command will not let me do it. Oh, okay, let me use it. Haven't decided, haven't logically reached the reason you want to do that, you can now do it and then get result. And even when you do not get result, because you are not just wuru to the answer, if you know what that means, you know, okay, so that is the concept. We call it first principle. You really know. So once you're able to do that, and then you understand that concept, you can take it anywhere. All right. If I say the law of reflection, light travels in a straight line and then it reflects at the, then it's the same thing everywhere, whether it is the light is from the moon or it's from electricity or it's from sun. Light is light. So those are the concepts that we want to really ensure that you grasp from day one. And once you grasp them over 3 months, you will say you want to change to cybersecurity, to anything IT, you have a solid foundation to do it. And that is what gives confidence, I think. Then on top of that, the tools that you are learning are only tools. So it means that if your company decides that we are no longer using this tool to execute this concept, we are now bringing a different tool. Because you have an understanding of the concept and what the inputs and the goals should be, irrespective of what tool you are using, it's the same concept. And they change tools all of the time. So don't just get used to now so would they do it. No, get used to why we have to do it and follow the yes. So so to experience that will give you, if you can pay, fine, or if you still want one technical class before you are convinced that this is it, you come in, join class on Monday, you take it to AWS, you create your AWS account, and then we set up a server. And you'll be surprised that the doing of this is actually easier than the talking. The time I used to say, set up a server and do this. I just click it, it's already done. I want to write it down. Yeah. So yeah, let's start to practice Linux. So we are practicing. I'm explaining, this is what we're about to do, this is what we're about to do. Do you get it? Yes, okay. Now this is how to do it. That's how we build it. Our career, step by step, brick by brick, until we form the whole house. We'll be ready to go. Wow.
Exciting.
All right. So the only reason I shared the testimony was because that is the first, the testimonial rather, the first one with this year. It's no that our trainees are getting jobs regularly. It's no big deal. And then when somebody was asking me, "Are you sure it's a new person?" and I was kind of embarrassed. At least each of you must know at least one person that is doing IT, came into US as a non-IT person, learned here, and so what's the big deal about it? Are you sure he's new? Are you sure this is what kind of? I don't know if the person was asking those questions, but it's here. I don't have names for such questions. We didn't all learn IT from Nigeria now, from whatever we think. You can learn IT. Some people even learn it on their own, completely on their own. They don't even have mentor or instructor to train them, and they get jobs. Not to talk of when you have an experienced person with a network of what's the fear? You don't ask questions like that, please, unless you are insinuating that I'm forming those things that they are not. And even if you feel, that's what I'm saying, even if you don't believe my own, at least you must have a friend or a relation or somebody who is doing IT and is making it. It's not my advert that brought you here. I'm sure it's because somebody you know is hitting it in IT and they told you, I learned this thing in 2 months or in 3 months and now I'm doing 150 or 170. That's why you're here.
Yeah, you're right, sir.
So why are you not doubting when I said somebody just got a job from a non-IT background and you're asking me, you sure it's from non-IT background?
Yeah, you're right in that aspect that anybody can learn IT. I myself, I'm a graduate of business administration. I actually learned Python. I learned Python. I learned a lot of models when I was studying. I was learning by myself.
Yeah.
YouTube videos, and I learned a lot of algorithm, learn how to use Python and database and all that. So anybody can learn it just like
yeah. Yeah, thank you. Yeah, any other question? Getting boring now, right? So I'm going to let you guys go, and then we'll see on Monday again.
Yeah, we'll see on Monday.
Everybody okay?
Yes, sir. Thank you.
You all good?
Thank you so much.
Yeah, we're good. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
All right,
Yeah,
guys.
thank you so much, sir.
It was nice having you.
Same here.
Monday, same time.
Yeah, same time, same link.
Thank you so much, sir.
All right, thank you, everyone.
Have a good
Thank you.
evening.
Bye.
You too.